And welcome back, everybody. We have another amazing guest this week, founder and CEO of Trust and Will, a company based right here in San Diego. Cody Barbo is here today. Cody, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, Bob? Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for giving us a little bit of your time today. We really appreciate it. First question is Trust and Will. Tell us a little bit about how the company got started and specifically how you got the idea to start the company.
Yeah, estate planning is not top of mind for most people, but I've been an entrepreneur for about a decade now. So this is actually my third company, second venture-backed business. And I started it with two other co-founders, one of which is an Aztec as well. But the one thing that's common, I'm 32, I'm married, I got a kid now. The one thing that's common for a lot of my friends finally is that they're getting married, having kids, buying that first home, starting to become an adult for the first time. And when my wife and I, this is late 2017, when we got married, I remember sitting down and we talked about working with an advisor, maybe looking at life insurance, and setting up a will seemed like the kind of responsible thing to do, although not immediate. And just that initial discovery of talking to attorneys, getting price quotes from $3,000 to $5,000 when our situation wasn't that complex and still isn't that complex today, I was blown away. I was like, how are people not doing this online? My entire financial life has been online for over a decade. I've filed taxes online for over a decade. You can get up to a $3 million life insurance policy online from all the biggest names. How can you not do this one thing online and do it best in class? It's not this one and done transaction. As you get married, you have kids, you continue to grow your family and your assets, that you can come back and keep that estate plan updated or evolve it in terms of complexity over time. And really, we're just like, why isn't there a TurboTax for estate planning? And that's really when we took a deep dive into the numbers, saw that only 40% of the population has an estate plan. Most of them haven't touched it since their kids were born, might have been 5, 10, 15 years ago. And then for the 60% of the population, especially those who are parents and homeowners, meaning the most important people in your lives, hopefully, and the most important asset or the largest financial asset in most families' lives that's worth protecting, why is there this huge barrier to entry? Price, experience, lack of education. And it really kind of all these reasons led to the start of this company. And I'm excited to unpack it a little bit further in terms of what we've been doing.
So you've got this idea, and everybody has great ideas, or a lot of people do. And the hardest part, as you know, being an entrepreneur for several years, is to take that idea and really make it into a business. So what are some of the steps that you took right away to make that happen?
Yeah, this is a mistake I made early on, but like you have to solve a legitimate problem. If you just see an opportunity, you're chasing a trend, you're not going to be first to market. You're definitely not going to be first to scale it. I advise against that. It can be done. It's just a lot harder. But if you're solving a true problem, and especially if it's a problem that you're facing or you're an expert in this area, you become an expert in this area that you're facing as a problem, it definitely at least gives you reason to reach out to your friends, to reach out to your network and see, well, is this a problem that other people are facing? And at my time, when we started this in late 2017, I was in my late 20s, about to get married. Same with my co-founders and their wives. And most of our friends, I call us the elder millennials. Half of us are like 30 to 40 now, but still millennials. But all of us are having kids. All of us are trying, at least the ones in California, we're trying to buy houses, but market's crazy. And we just basically spammed our entire network. 2 of the 3 co-founders went to San Diego State. The third went to Baylor. Most of our friends are married with kids and have at least a house or 2. So we were like, let's just go spam our friends and see if this validation is there. And it was overwhelmingly, if you were a parent, this was a priority. You knew that you should have this done. And even for our own parents' generation, my parents, modest retirement, 60s and 70s respectively. But for a lot of the parents of my friends, most people still don't have this, or they haven't updated their estate plan. And if you've downsized homes, you've moved states, you're really thinking through the decisions or the outcomes of the estate plan, you should be able to make those updates easily and affordably. So for that 40% of the population that has an estate plan, just the cost to update it with an attorney might be $1,000 or $2,000. And is it the same attorney? Is that attorney alive? Or are they retired? There isn't this digital way to update that estate plan online to give visibility to the family members, the ones who are ultimately going to be having to make decisions after you've passed. So we really felt like there's an opportunity across generations, from millennial through Gen X, all the way through boomers and beyond, that people are taking care of a loved one or they're taking care of their own family and how they think about this. There just wasn't an easy way to do it.
Yeah, I'm actually could be one of your potential customers right now because I need to go through that same process again. And the thought of calling an attorney and spending 5 hours and $5,000 on updating everything seems, not on the top of my list, let's say, of things to do.
Yeah,
Uh,
for the everyday family, right? Like everyday family, you don't need to go spend 5,000 plus on this. If you have family complexity, like we've seen, where Trustable is not a good fit is rare, but it's usually like a third marriage with kids and assets across all
mm,
three. So there's family
yeah,
complexity, or it's wealth complexity. It's there. They actually do need some sort of advanced trust. So right now we offer a revocable living trust. They might want to set up an ILIT or a GRAT or a SLAT based on the recommendation of their financial advisor. Or maybe they have a special needs trust that they'd like to set up, or generational skipping trust, which we don't quite accommodate for yet today, but have looked at into the future. And you take 85, 90% of households, though, Trustable is going to be an amazing fit. And we've helped over 200,000 families in the last 3 years start this process.
well, I think it's an amazing idea. I imagine one of the challenges for you would be convincing people that this is okay to do. This is for real. I did
Yeah.
legal Zoom a couple years ago, and which has worked out great for me in doing that. But my first question was, can I really do this? Should I have an attorney go look at this as well? So I assume that some of the same kinds of challenges that you're facing.
Yeah, from the start, and I think it'll be a forever challenge until online is the default option. Offline still is the main way that people go about doing this. But when you're a startup, any type of company, but especially in our business, building trust first and foremost is the hardest thing to do. So just from the start, trustable.com, having a website and a brand that resonates with consumers. Next is building an education platform, knowing that there's a huge education gap in this country, even with wealthy, successful people. They don't know much about estate planning. So we have a Learn Center with hundreds of articles from the most basic to the most advanced content that
That's
walk
cool.
people through all the different avenues that you could come into the need to set up an estate plan or to update your estate plan. The third is customer support. So we offer 7 days of support. Our entire support team is based here in San Diego. We have 7 days of chat support, email support, phone support, and even to your point, we offer attorney support in many states now, because some people, even though they get majority of their questions answered easily on our website or through our chat, some people do want that preference or peace of mind to talk to an attorney. So the attorneys you'd sign a letter of engagement with, think of it like TurboTax Live. They offer that live CPA service now when you do your taxes. And for that one specific question, it's just that ultimate psychological safety net. And those attorneys can walk you through different scenario modeling. They can talk you through tax implications, but they also can tell you if Trustable is not a good fit, and that's totally okay with us. So we like the fact that from the most basic interaction, which might be not talking to anybody, all the way through the attorney support, you can still get from start to finish in under an hour and have a complete legal set of state-specific documents that you then sign, notarize, and have witnessed and would hold up in a court of law.
Really cool. And I went through the website, and it's really easy to use, and the branding is great. How did you go about that? Do you have a tech background? And when you were starting the business, were you bringing in experts from different areas to really kind of focus on how that was going to look?
Yeah, so this is my third startup, so definitely familiar territory for me in terms of the foundations of building a business and recruitment. But I have two incredibly talented co-founders that they actually come from the software background. So they worked at an agency here in San Diego that built products for venture-backed startups all the way through Fortune 1000 companies. And when it comes to software, you only usually get one chance to make that great first impression. So we knew that design of our product had to be beautiful. We knew the product in terms of how it worked. It had to be stable. It had to be secure. It had to be trustworthy, knowing the seriousness of the documents that we're generating for customers. So one of our first, I call it a product hire, but it was a legal hire, was our current head of legal, Patrick Hicks, who's a 10-year trust and state attorney. So knowing that the documents, as we roll them out to all 50 states and the years to come, would be legitimate documents that would serve our customers well. And it's a combination of this small team of 5 and now a team of 40 plus. And, we've grown that to 225,000 members that have used the service. We've raised a lot of money too in private capital. We've raised 23 million in venture capital now, both from traditional investors as well as AARP, Fifth Third Bank, Northwestern Mutual, really looking to build our credibility, not just direct to consumer, but also B2B with these big partners from a distribution perspective.
Being a entrepreneur several times over now, what's the San Diego ecosystem of startups like? I mean, I'm involved in it being a real estate guy, but not as deep as what you see. Tell me a little bit about how San Diego's doing on that front.
Yeah, it's matured a lot. I mean, when I was raising venture capital for my last company all the way back in 2015, early 2016, it was a grind, but I still pitched the same reasons that I pitch today. It's an amazing place to live and to raise a family first and foremost. And even though that is California, at least compared to LA and the Bay, it's cheaper, but not cheaper for most things. Right?
Right.
The fact that this is a top 10 market for venture capital dollars, not just biotech and life sciences. Like, you want to build a great consumer tech or a great enterprise technology company, San Diego is the place to build it. There's kind of three pockets in town, pre-pandemic, but even I think will be post-pandemic: downtown, UTC, and then North County, kind of Solana Beach, Carlsbad corridor, Encinitas, where you have people that want to raise their families, but also give their employees a great place to live and to have the same beach benefits. You might be able to pop out of the office on a Friday and go catch some waves before sunset. So it's, on top of that, you have amazing co-working spaces, support from the local government, and you're an hour flight from San Francisco. I mean, that's like the biggest perk. We're in Point Loma. My family's in Point Loma, and then our office is in Little Italy. So to be able to pop on a flight 2 hours before a meeting in the city in SF wasn't undoable at all. And I did it quite often up until, spring of last year.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about that a little bit since you brought it up.
Yeah.
I'm with a national company, corporate tenant rep advisory. So we're talking to a lot of tenants across the country, and a lot of them have different viewpoints on going back to work and how that's going to happen, and the work from home, and a lot of different strategies that we're seeing. How are you dealing with that? Are your employees and you going back to the office yet? Do you plan to? Is there going to be a little bit of a hybrid model that you're going to have?
Yeah. So from last year through the current batch of hires that we're currently recruiting for, we've 3x'd headcount. So we'll be close to 50 here in the next month. And we have employees across 6 states. So our promise and our commitment to our current team and our future team is that we'll always be a virtual first organization. But it doesn't discount the fact that there are team members that want to meet in office or want to meet up in person a couple times per year. So the idea, we still have our office in Little Italy. The idea of us having an office will always have a home for our local team to go to as they want to get out of the house, whether they have spouse, kids, dogs, whatever, the crazy neighbors or roommates, whatever the case may be. But just to get out of the house for, I think, healthy reasons. And then also for our greater organization, folks that are across Chicago, Philly, New York, Texas, Atlanta right now, that can come out to San Diego, which is not a hard sell, by the way, and get them, get them to meet up for once or twice a year at a minimum, and to have all the benefits of San Diego, but a team that they work digitally with every day, but to be able to work in person to still feel valued. So I'm pretty committed that a hybrid environment is going to be where most progressive tech companies stick with, because that in-person energy and the serendipity that comes around ideas and opportunities, that is the most powerful in person. And I miss it too. I miss my physical presence amongst the team. But virtual, or at least offering virtual opportunities, domestic or even international, you're getting access to the top talent, people that have kids, they have a family, they want to think through the cost of living in California versus another market in this country, and the value that it can provide for their family's future. I mean, why would you not discount that talent by limiting to just an in-person experience? So that's where I think we have a lot of opportunity, and we're going to lean into that as much as we can.
Yeah, it seems, in looking at your employees, some of them on LinkedIn and your profile and other things that I've seen, it seems that the culture of the company is really good and really important to you. And I know that being in person, it's just a little bit different than, I mean, I love that we're able to do stuff like this. I really do. But being in person is just a different feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with virtual, that was probably my biggest fear the first, I'd say 2 or 3 months of the pandemic. I was like, we have 16 people on the team. I just come back from parental leave. I had 2 weeks in the office and, still had a newborn at the house. But we had hired some folks when I was off, and I was like, man, I love being able to project my energy and my passion for the business, because I want everybody to feel it, from our most recent hire or our most junior hire all the way up through leadership. And that was something that I was worried. I was like, can I maintain this in a virtual environment? Can we maintain this as an organization virtually? And I think what it just was a forcing function is you just have to be intentional. You have to be so intentional about the habits and rituals you build, the things that you do, especially for new hires, more so than those that are more tenured, to make them feel welcomed and supported. And then also, as we go back to a hybrid experience, for folks that aren't comfortable, even if they're here in San Diego, comfortable meeting in person, or those that are across the country, how do we still provide a kind of 2-track experience that's equal in terms of the value that they feel both personally and professionally? So it's been a lot. I mean, we work with such an incredible team. We were just recognized by Inc. magazine as a best workplace for 2021. And, it's like, we wouldn't be where we are in terms of success without the team that we have. And we've tried to really go above and beyond, not just the salary, equity, and benefits we provide, but just that support to their personal lives. The fact that I know most of our team's dogs' names and kids' names, little quirks about them. I mean, it's been really cool. And I'd say I'm closer to them than I am to some of my friends this last year, which I'm proud to say.
That's a really good point that I didn't really consider as much as you're being invited into their living room or home office every day. So you get to see a different side of everybody, all your employees.
Yeah. Kids coming up on calls is, I think, like my favorite thing, because I have a 15-month-old. So anytime like our head of PR, her daughter, Zoe, pops on the call, or if my business partner's son, Cannon, pops on a call, man, we love the babies on the calls. That's like the best part.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, take me back a little bit to now that you've started several companies now and just being an entrepreneur, for some of the younger people out there that are listening and want to start their own business, what are some of the things that you advise them to be thinking about when they're doing that?
Yeah, I mentor a lot of young people, whether they're San Diego State Aztecs that are graduating or recently graduated, or it's entrepreneurs that I get introduced to or reach out on social. The biggest thing that people discount is the power of their personal brand. I think we're so quick to sell something else without really being able to sell ourselves. And even to take that one step further, selling ourselves on ourselves. And I have my daughters up there here. I apologize for
perfect timing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So what I mean by that is that we're so quick to look for that great opportunity, but we don't always take the time to invest in ourselves and our personal brand. What are our core strengths? Can you communicate a vision for yourself and where you want to be 5-10 years from now? A professional vision, a personal vision, might be health related goals. And I have kind of a playbook that I try and prescribe to a lot of folks that are either in that initial career discovery or that career transition, about really trying to hone in on that vision statement and those core strengths that they can then leverage to their advantage. And usually for entrepreneurs, especially, if it's someone who's just starting, it's really hard. I was one of them. I went headfirst into this, and having that credibility without having any experience it's very, very hard to do. But surrounding yourself with a great group of mentors, consuming as much content, and I mean books and podcasts with people that have done it, not the crap of just endless scrolling on the Instagram or TikTok feed. Like, that's useless time if you really want to be an entrepreneur that's going to change the world. And then for those that are in career transition, for me, especially as a husband and a father now, it's like a financial safety net first, like at minimum 6 months of covering your mortgage or rent, basic utilities, and being able to put food on the table. Because 6 months is enough time to be a true test of self. A year would be too much time if you're not making meaningful progress, and less than 6 months isn't enough time to prove out a business model to want to pursue something full time.
It's really interesting what you're talking about on the personal brand. I've gone through this personal branding exercise over the past 6 months or so. And for, the reasons that you're saying, I've been in the corporate real estate business for 20 years or so. But people hire me, or people like me, for who you are, for the people, not for the company. Oh, yeah. So, it took me a long time to get to the point to actually really go after that personal brand, but now it's been an amazing transition for me.
Yeah, I think that early on, and I've had mentors for over half my life. I mean, if you can count the parents, for sure, but at least going back to college, and the friends that ended up being the most successful, it's not in the digital world now, it's not how many followers they have, but it's their intentionality behind the messages that they're sharing. You can tell when they're family first. You can tell when they're proud of their career path unfolding, proud of the decisions that they're making in their organization, and the pride that they have for the company itself. That's something that I really have appreciated with our team, is that people are stoked to work to trust them all. And that's not just me saying it as founder and CEO. I mean, you put anybody from my team on this call, they'd have something great and unique to share about the company. So, my hope is that wherever our team ends up landing up, whether it's starting their own company in the future or joining another organization, that at the very minimum, trust them all, set the bar of what the best employee experience can be. and that they take that mindset with them in terms of the impact that they can make, not just at the company, but also their impact on society and in their community. Because we got one life to live, and I'd rather make it worthwhile than make it wasteful.
Was there ever a time when things were not going well? I'm sure there was, and
Yeah.
it was really tough, and you thought about quitting. And how did you get off of that situation?
Yeah, this might be a longer story than the time we got together. My departure from my last venture-backed business was not by choice. And the quick version of it is we had built and scaled a business in the hospitality technology space. And we were primarily serving restaurants with the applicant tracking system, hiring platform. And we raised some good money, a couple $1 million, had a team of 25. And in June of 2017, I was let go by the board. And the board at the time was myself, my co-founder, Matt, who was a really good friend, and this one venture capitalist. And I never really, it took me a couple months to realize it, but I never understood like the power of the board. It's not how good the company's doing. It's the power and the authority of the board and how you kind of manage that relationship with the board and the impact that they can have on you, the CEO. You're always first to go if things aren't going well. And, I was let go, not for anything I did wrong, but for a different direction that they wanted to take the company that was opposite of what we were doing at the time, which was helping people discover career opportunities and helping restaurants hire great talent. So the first month I couldn't talk to anybody. I literally spoke to no one other than my immediate family because I had to get some legal closure on what had happened. It was like just really much like ripping the Band-Aid off, like no chance to move into a different role to play my strengths, no chance to still be involved at a board level, just gone, like pushed off the cliff, literally. And once I got some closure, I wrote a LinkedIn post putting myself, but also the company in good light because I still have an equity position in the business today. But very much was like, hey, look, out of respect to me and the company, like don't poke and prod, although I know a lot of my close friends wanted to. But it was the first time that like I had overwhelming support, not just from my immediate network, but from complete strangers, people that had gone through this before, hadn't been at a company that they started 10 or 20 years ago, not just a few years ago. And almost unanimously saying that kind of it's going to get better message. And it created a lot of potential career opportunities that I never thought I'd go work somewhere like a big company like Amazon or Nike, which were two that I was interested in. But it also was kind of a clarifying moment for me because that happened on June 15th, 2017. And August 4th, 2017, just 2 months later, we were already talking about Trust and Will. And for me, starting Trust and Will, third startup at second venture-backed business with Daniel and Brian, the speed that we moved at, just because I knew what we needed to do versus trying to figure it out as we went in the previous business. And here we are 3 years later with 23 million in funding, 200,000 members across the country, team of close to 50 across the country. And just like everything that I've wanted to accomplish happened at Trust and Will that I didn't get to fully accomplish at industry. So it almost like in a weird way worked in my favor. And I think that the lesson I learned was, you really have to set clear expectations with yourself if you're going to go down this path. You have to understand that your corporate counsel is not your personal attorney, and you have to negotiate for yourself as much as you're negotiating for the company as you raise rounds of capital if you decide to go the funding route. And staying true to your integrity, personal integrity and the values of the organization, living and breathing those as much as you can in the decisions that you make. And it's kept me honest as an entrepreneur. And I think becoming a husband and a father in this business as well, along with two other guys that are going through the same thing, it's kept us on a very even playing field and accountable. And that's even stemmed up to our board level, which we now have a 5-person board. We have over 20 venture capital firms on the cap table and have an exceptional relationship with everybody. And I've also just grown up a bit. So I don't know, I'm rambling here, but hopefully that paints a picture of what a downturn led to a really great opportunity or outcome.
Well, that is perfect. And thank you for sharing that story. And thank you for all the incredible advice that you dropped on us here today. I really appreciate it. Congrats on everything and continued success. And thanks so much for being part of the show today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to be here. And if anyone that's listening or watching needs an estate plan, check out trustandwill.com. We'd love to take care of you and hope to help you in the future.
Perfect. I'm going to put it all over my LinkedIn and other social channels as well. So cool. Thanks, Cody. Thanks again.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate you.
Talk to you later.